Hello and welcome to the June edition of our monthly book club. Just to remind everyone, May's pick was The 10,000 Doors of January by Kentucky author Alex E. Harrow. This was a coming-of-age novel with a few otherworldly elements, and I'll let you just read that and figure out what that means. But for anyone considering checking it out, I will say that although it wasn't my usual genre or writing style, if you push through about the first 100 pages, you get to a really good reveal, and then you can't put it down. So here to introduce our June pick is Diane Dehoney from the Paul Sawyier Public Library. It's nice to see you again, and I'm excited to hear which book you've chosen for us.
Thanks, Abby. I appreciate you having me on again. I'm glad that you stuck with the 10,000 Doors of January. I told you get hooked if you just made it through that first chunk, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope a lot of the viewers were able to read it as well and that they really enjoyed it too. So for this month, we're going to kind of take a different direction, but we are going to stick with another Kentucky author. I didn't do that on purpose. It just happened, but I kind of enjoy it that way. But this month for June, we're going to be reading The Queen's Gambit by Walter Tevis. And that name probably sounds familiar to a lot of you because even though this novel was published in 1983, it was brought back into popularity last year in 2020 because it was made into a miniseries on Netflix. So I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of folks watched that series during quarantine, during the pandemic. You were home. We were watching a lot of Netflix, and it's a really fantastic show. So if you have already watched it, I would suggest that you pick up the book. If you haven't watched the show, I would read the book first and then watch it because it really is a good complement to the book. But Abby and I were talking earlier, a lot of folks probably don't realize that that show is based on a book. And not only was it based on a book, but it's based on a book by a Kentucky writer. And as I mentioned, his name is Walter Tevis. And although he was born in California, Tevis and his family moved to Kentucky when he was 11 years old. And he actually grew up in Madison County, and he would go on to attend the University of Kentucky. He's buried in Richmond, and he is also a member of the Kentucky Writers Hall of Fame. I believe he was inducted into that Hall of Fame a few years ago, 2019, I believe. He is the author of 6 books, including some that you probably have heard of, The Hustler, The Color of Money, and The Man Who Fell to Earth. And all of those were made into major films. So you've probably either heard of the novel, heard of the film. David Bowie was in The Man Who Fell to Earth. I believe Paul Newman won an Oscar for The Color of Money. That was a Martin Scorsese film. So a lot of those have been made into films, but really fantastic books. And also there's the sports element kind of in there too. Color of Money, he's a pool player. Queen's Gambit is chess. So kind of a sporting leisure activity element to those. But if you're interested in reading The Queen's Gambit with us, I want to give you a little blurb of that today, just so you get a taste of what the novel is about in case you aren't familiar with the novel or the series. 8-year-old orphan Beth Harmon is quiet, sullen, and by all appearances unremarkable. That is, until she plays her first game of chess. Her senses grow sharper, her thinking clearer, and for the first time in her life, she feels herself fully in control. By the age of 16, she's competing for the U.S. Open Championship. But as Beth hones her skills on the professional circuit, the stakes get higher, her isolation grows more frightening, and the thought of escape becomes all the more tempting. So this novel is obviously heavy on the chess. The title of the book, The Queen's Gambit, actually comes from the name of a chess move. It's a chess opening. But you don't need to be a chess player or have previous knowledge of chess to really enjoy this book. I know very little about chess. I'm quite the horrible chess player, honestly, but I thoroughly enjoyed the book and was able to follow it and understand. I actually learned a lot about chess from reading the book. But more than anything, I feel like this is a coming of age story that really explores a lot of other themes like adoption, addiction, and even feminism in some aspects. One thing that I really did enjoy about it, and I think a lot of our viewers will also enjoy, is that the book is set in 1950s, 1960s Lexington. So it's based right here, right down the road. And although there is some travel to other locales, especially once she gets on the tournament circuit, Lexington is the main setting. So it was fun to pick up on those familiar names and familiar locations, even though this is a work of fiction. So if you're interested in reading with us this month, of course, the Paul Sawyier Library has you covered. You can access the book, get that book from us. We have it in the actual book form if you prefer a paper physical copy. We also have it on audiobook on CD, so you can check that out from us as well. And then if you're interested in our digital resources on Kentucky Libraries Unbound, which is the consortium we are a member of, you can check it out as either an ebook or an e-audiobook. So we have a variety of formats that you can choose from if you're interested in getting a copy, picking this up, and reading with us.
I think that last time we spoke a little bit about some of the series that we like to watch on Netflix that were based off of books. And this was one that I think someone here on the staff actually recommended last year, the series. And they said that they really enjoyed like the connection to Kentucky and the local areas. And I didn't watch it. I'll have to admit, I never watched it, and I just wasn't really sure what it was about. And until you actually said it, I didn't even know it was really based mostly on chess. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of interested to see how the book will compare to the series. And I'm excited to read it first and just compare the two, because I feel like the books always, for the most part, share a great deal of detail that like you just don't get in the movies.
I love it when there is a series too. Yeah. I enjoy reading first if I can, and I was able to do that with this. I read the book first, but it seems like you have a picture in your mind of what the characters are going to look like, or what this scene is going to be, and so it's really fun to compare what you've made up in your own mind, what you've envisioned just from the text on the page, and then compare that to how they've transferred it over to the screen. So that's a lot of fun, and a really neat comparison that you can do if you read with us this month.
It'll be interesting because you already know what some of the areas look like based in, Lexington and the surrounding areas. So that would be really cool. I'm excited to read this one.
If you have any questions about getting access to this book, feel free to contact us at the Paul Sawyier Library. You can give us a call at 352-2665. Stop by and see us. We've expanded our hours again starting this week. So Monday through Thursday, we'll be open 10 to 7. Friday and Saturday, we are open 10 to 4. We're still closed on Sundays right now, but feel free to stop in, give us a call, or our Facebook page. Of course, we're always available on there. You can send us a message, and I'd be happy to help you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Diane, for joining us today and giving your book pick for the month. And I look forward to reading it and hearing what everyone has to say about it.
Thanks so much, Abby. I hope everybody enjoys it.